So you can go ahead.
So hello, today we're talking about opioid abuse and specifically its effect on men. So in the beginning, what are opioids? Opioids are just pain relievers and narcotics, basically just things to like numb pain and such. Like some common examples of this include like fentanyl, oxytocin, Vicodin, and heroin. And like most drugs, using opioids can regularly like builds up a tolerance and dependence on this, which can eventually lead to like addiction and a lot of problems like respiratory issues. And like as you use them more and more, your risk of an overdose increase dramatically. And like most drugs, this is a very dangerous thing, but specifically for men, since they use drugs more often than women, it's a big problem for them. Uh, to give a general overview then of the spread of these opioids, like in the 1990s, when people didn't know too much about opioids, they were prescribing a lot of opioids, and this caused like the first big wave of opioids. The second wave was caused by heroin. There wasn't a lot of fight back against heroin at this time, so it caused a lot of issues for people in 2010. And then finally, like the third wave was when people started illegally manufacturing like synthetic opioids like fentanyl, because even though at this time people knew most of what opioids were doing, there was also a lot of people that still wanted opioids, so the illegal manufacturing uh give gave into the demand of this. And that's just like kind of a general overview of the spread of opioids, but uh opioids can also have like a very big impact on like middle-aged men, for which we'll be talking about next.
Men are more likely to abuse and overdose on opioids than women. Men are vulnerable due to tolerant attitudes, peer pressure, and the inability to ask for help, which means that men are more likely to be result in emergency visits or overdose deaths. 7 out of 10 opioid overdose victims are male, reflecting the fact that men are more likely to abuse illicit drugs like opioids. According to NSDUH 2015-2016, those who reported those seriously about killing themselves were 10 times more likely to abuse opioids, which also means they had an increased risk of suicidal thoughts. 72% of preventable opioid deaths occur among people aged 25 to 54, and the number of deaths among individuals 55 and older are growing rapidly. As you can see in the graph to the right, starting from 1999 to now, males have a higher deaths than females, and starting around 2015 to 2016, the gap widens between male and female overdose deaths.
Many programs and policies have been created to deal with this rising issue. The NIH HEAL initiative was created to develop programs that provide medical treatment to reverse opioid addiction, identify and prevent high-risk youth from opioid addiction, and support research in understanding the opioid epidemic. Programs like the Prescription Drug Monitoring Program has also been created to help doctors keep track of which patients are being prescribed what drugs to prevent overprescribing medication. Funds have also been allocated to public health organizations to support research and better understanding the opioid epidemic and how it can be solved.
With everything being said, there are many ways you can choose a career to help out those in need that deal with opioid abuse. There's an option to be an addiction counselor, a substance abuse counselor, a mental health counselor, or a social worker. While they all do sound the same, they all do serve different purposes, and you would need just a bachelor's or tops a master's degree or even a doctoral degree to achieve this. Just want to say thank you so much for listening. And yeah.